Hoo-yah! We're Killer Elite Airsoft Team. I'm Daddy07, Gunner.
I'm Dragocon, Sniper.
I'm One Shot Sammy, Rusher.
These videos will take you and your Airsoft team to the next level.
You won't just be killer.
You'll be Killer Elite.
Hoo-yah! This video will teach you the technologies, techniques, and tactics needed to become a basic airsoft gunner. I hope you enjoy it. As gunner, my primary weapon is the SEMA RPK Gen X. Now this is a new version of the SEMA RPK. The previous version was heavier. It didn't have the rails that you see here on the forestock or on top, and it had a different buttstock. The problem with the previous version's buttstock is it took a proprietary battery that was very expensive, and actually the two that I bought died pretty quickly. I like the new buttstock better because you can put any kind of battery in there. Now when I put a battery in there, I also put some foam in there because there's so much room the battery tends to rattle around. You notice I put some tape on the buttstock. The reason for that is that particular buttstock, it's just a clip-on, clip-off, and it did come off on me one time, so rather than lose it, I went ahead and taped it down with some black duct tape. Okay, the gun comes with this giant 800 round magazine. It's a good magazine. It's only plastic. It's not that tough, but it does wind well and it does feed well. In addition to that, I also carry my own collection of steel AK magazines, and those are really good and those are really tough, and each one of those carries 600 rounds. So generally what I'll do is I'll start with the 800 mag as my initial engagement mag, and then as I have to reload I'll go to my 600 round mags. Now the weapon has a place for a foregrip, and so I do use a foregrip when I employ the weapon. That's very handy because unlike most LMGs, you can shoot it like a rifle. You can pick it right up, put it on your shoulder and shoot it like a rifle, or you can shoot it in the traditional way in the prone and with the bipod extended. When you shoot it as a rifle, it's nice to have the foregrip because that really helps steady your aim. Also, as part of my load, I'll carry two LiPo batteries, 7.4 batteries, and I'll carry a bottle of BBs for reloading, and that's about 2,500 rounds. Then finally I use a sling on it. As you can see, I've made kind of my own sling attachment points at a 550 cord, and those work for me better. All in all, the SEMA RPK is a very good weapon. It shoots about 420 FPS. It has a good rate of fire. Now some fields for LMGs, that won't be legal, so you have to check your local field regulations. If it's not legal, you always have the option of either dropping the spring on it, which you'll need a tech for, or you could run it actually on most fields as a DMR. As a DMR, you just run it in single shot. But obviously, if you're running it as a DMR, you're no longer on the gunner roll. Most backyard airsoft fields will let you run it as an LMG, and that's where it really does a great job, and that's what it's designed for. So this is my weapon for gunnery, and I really like it. For my secondary, I use the Mad Bull AGX grenade launcher. This is a really great grenade launcher. It's a short barrel. It can be used as a pistol, or it can be mounted underneath a weapon with rails. As a gunner, you're probably going to want to carry it as a pistol, although with the RPK from SEMA, you could mount it under the rails and use it that way. I use the ICS grenades. These are really good grenades. They hold about 120 rounds each. You can put 12s, 20s, 25s in there. I normally run with 12s. If you want a little more punch, you could put 20s in there. And then I use this special mag size speed loader for the grenades. That does a really good job of getting them loaded quickly, which is what you want when you're going to have to put 120 BBs in the grenades. And you want to do that quickly. Finally, you're going to need a canister of gas. I use just regular propane with a special nozzle attachment that we got from Ivike. That nozzle attachment will save you a lot of money over buying green gas canisters. And all it takes is screwing on the top of the propane canister and then putting a little oil in there, and you're good to go, and to keep your gun, your grenades nice and lubed, as well as any gas powered weapon that you use. So that's my secondary. Okay, so here's the rest of my equipment. Let's start with my vest. I use this vest because it's designed to carry the mags behind the pouches. It has 6 slots for mags. It's perfect for AK mags, but then I still have 5 pouches that I can use for additional gear, and there's still webbing left where if I want to carry a pistol I can put my Molly pistol holster there. So in addition to my vest, I also carry, of course, my helmet and safety gear. So I'll start with the helmet. I'm always glad when I have a helmet on. I've been shot in the head a lot. I don't know why. I've been shot at close quarters. I've been shot with powerful weapons, and there's never been a time when I'm sorry that I have my helmet on. One time when we were playing on a field, a guy got shot in the head by a sniper using a 550 FPS sniper rifle, and the knot on his head looked like he was growing a third eye. So I'll tell you what, if you don't believe in helmets now, you will in time, but I've definitely learned my lesson, so I always wear a helmet. This one has tiger stripes, so it matches my uniform. My face mask, I use a vented face mask. That's really a lot better than the ones that are solid plastic. They're cooler, they breathe better, you can talk better, and they tend not to fog up your goggles as much. I use a V-tack neck protector because I don't like being shot in the neck, it really hurts. I use just regular Airsoft gloves. They have that hard back, and then they have the good grippy palms. And then, of course, I have my full steel goggles to protect my eyes. Gotta protect your eyes. Blind men don't play Airsoft. So if you love the sport of Airsoft, buy good goggles and wear them. For hydration, I have a regular Camelback. It's a Molly one. So with the webbing, I can put more stuff on my back if I want. And it's always been really reliable and holds a lot of water. I usually carry G2 when I'm in the field because it's better to hydrate with G2 or Gatorade than just plain water. My knee pads, I bought these at an Army surplus, very cheap, very dependable, and they protect your knees because when you're in a hurry and you're getting down into prone and you're throwing your body down, that's when your knees are going to find some protruding tree stump or rock and you can really tear up your knees. And I know a very good airsoft player who doesn't play anymore now, just runs a field because he tore up his knees by not wearing just a cheap $10 pair of knee pads. My knife, because sometimes, not as a weapon clearly, but sometimes it's just handy to have a knife to cut some brush to cover your position, cut some 550 cord, cut bologna for your lunch. I don't know what you're doing, but it's just always handy to have a knife. Do not use that on other players, please. And finally, my radio. My whole team has radios. We all communicate with each other, and we may want to communicate with other elements. So having a good radio is always a good idea. Okay, so we're out here at the Killer Elite Airsoft Field. Now, as a gunner, the thing you have to keep in mind in terms of marksmanship is that your role is to suppress the enemy. So you're not looking for highly accurate fire, you're looking for a large volume of suppressive fire. As long as you achieve that, keep the enemy forces from maneuvering, keep them pinned down, keep them from putting their heads up, you're doing your job as a gunner. Okay, so this is an example of burst fire for a gunner. Remember that you're going for 5 to 8 rounds per burst. That's a good burst fire for a gunner. Do not ride the trigger and just empty your mag on somebody. It's a waste of ammo, it's hard on your gun, and it's not going to do your team any good. Remember, burst fire, 5 to 8 rounds. As a gunner, you need to know 4 basic firing positions. The first is standing. The second is kneeling. The third is seated. And the final is prone. The roles on the gunner team are the gunner, the assistant gunner who is also the team lead, and security, who's normally a rifleman or can be a rusher on a more experienced team. The assistant gunner or team lead carries an AK-47 and an additional 5 AK magazines, each containing 600 rounds each. The assistant gunner may also carry a radio or any special mission gear as required. The role of security on the team is filled by a rifleman, or on more experienced teams like ours, a rusher. The rusher carries a 74U SMG, an additional 5 AK mags, each containing 600 rounds each, a grenade launcher, 3 grenades, a radio, and any other special mission equipment required. The order of march for the gunnery team is security, assistant gunner, and gunner.
Slicha.
Slicha.
Use the column formation only when the risk of enemy contact is low. Security takes point, followed by the assistant gunner, followed by the gunner. Keep a good interval, at least 5 paces. Always keep your head on a swivel, look forward, right, left, and back. Use the wedge formation when the risk of enemy contact is medium to high. The security team member takes point. The assistant gunner fans out to one corner of the triangle. The gunner fans out to the other corner of the triangle. Keep your intervals at least 5 feet apart. The team comes to a security halt before emplacing. The point performs a security recon of the emplacement position. Once the point secures the position, the assistant gunner and gunner move up and in place. The assistant gunner gives the order to withdraw. The point withdraws first, followed by assistant gunner, followed by gunner. The team can withdraw in column or wedge formation depending on the risk of enemy contact.
Thanks for watching our Killer Elite Airsoft video. Don't forget to subscribe.
Like.
And share.
Hoo-yah!
I came after the parade and I said, "Hey, is this still on? Is this still on? Is this still on?" And the guy said, "Sir, it's still on." I'm like, "Oh, well, enjoy your retirement, Sergeant Major."
You actually did that?
I did that. You know what he told me? "Sir,
What?
that's how I'm always going to remember you. Just like that." Find that you're not a sniper. There's a car coming. It's making a lot of noise. And that's going to be a problem for you. That's when you blow the deck charges on the road and create a vehicle kill. Now that's a later vehicle. It's much more advanced than we're talking about right
Do not try this at home, kids.
now. Additional 5 rounds of AK ammo, each containing 5 rounds of ammo.
5 rounds? What kind of security am I?
Better make
very
each shot
good.
count,
Must
man.
carry a pistol then.